The following is an exclusive presentation of the LSU Sports Radio Network. Getting ready for another week of LSU Fighting Tiger football.
Fires a bullet inside the end zone. Give me the sign. Pass. Give me the sign. Touchdown, Tigers.
Welcome in to the Coach O press conference, presented by Planet Fitness.
Tell the truth, Monday, I can't wait to see our team today.
A recap of last week and a look ahead to the battle coming up.
Always knew at LSU that you have to win. I know the expectation of LSU is to win, and my goal has always been to win at LSU.
Now, to get things started, from the LSU Sports Radio Network Capital One Studios, here is former Tiger Gordy Rush and the voice of your Fighting Tigers, Chris Blair.
Happy Monday to you. Welcome in as we get you ready for today's press conference with Tiger head coach Ed Orgeron. Along with Gordy Rush, this is Chris Blair as LSU looks to pounce back this coming Saturday on the road against the Vanderbilt Commodores. Both teams will come into the matchup 0-1 on the early season. Vandy playing pretty tough, but losing to Texas A&M and College Station last Saturday night, 17-12. And, of course, LSU falling to Mike Leach and Mississippi State at home, 44-34. Gordy, obviously a lot of unknowns for every team that started this college football season. A lot of things different leading up to the start of football this year. LSU, so many new faces and names, some true freshmen, other veterans, but first time playing with the Tigers. But obviously you got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, obviously LSU without some key guys on Saturday, but Mike Leach, KJ Costello, a lot went right for Mississippi State. We were told leading up to the game they were going to have kind of a limited playbook, what they had worked on, and that's right out of what Mike Leach wants to do. That is, just repetition. Know those plays backward and forwards. We saw a lot of rub routes, a lot of crossing, some digs, a lot of mesh out there, creating open receivers. And KJ Costello with some really good throws at times, able to find them there. Again, LSU, as Coach O said after the game, there are some questions, some things to take care of. And as I said, he mentioned it immediately following Saturday night. And I imagine coming up here in about 20 minutes or so, he'll probably address a few more and what the plan is for this week.
Especially after getting a chance to see that film Sunday night and the coaches, that's a long film. That was a 4-hour, 10-minute game and a lot of plays that were run out there. I'm sure there are a ton of corrections he's going to talk about coming up at 12:30. But I'm with you, Chris. I think a tip of the hat to Mike Leach, what he was able to do with this Mississippi State team. And you think about it offensively, he had a transfer quarterback. He had 0 spring practice. He had a roster that he inherited that had a spread the run you sort of philosophy with Joe Moorhead. The quarterback from last year, Garrett Schaefer, got moved out to wide receiver, and they came in the Tiger Stadium, obviously executed at a high level, put statistically one of the best, if actually the best throwing day in conference history. So, I mean, a tip of hat to them, not only offensively, on defensively. They out-executed LSU, and they had a good game plan.
Again, it was 632 yards and 9 yards rushing. You take away that, 623 yards is that SEC record you touched on. Actually ranks 11th in NCAA history as well. Costello, 36 of 60 throwing, which also happened to be Mississippi State school records. And he matched the program record for passing touchdowns with 5. We sat here last week wondering how Kylan Hill would fit in with a pass-happy offense. He fit in rather nicely. He was one of 3 Bulldogs going for over 100 yards, had 192 yards total offense, along with 1 touchdown. Again, LSU moving to the side of the offense, 425 yards for the Tigers. Brennan, 27 of 46, 345 yards passing, had 3 passing touchdowns. Did have 2 interceptions, one after being hit throwing towards the end zone, and then one late in the game trying to get in the end zone. Offensive line, there were some issues there. Tigers sacked 7 times on Saturday night. That's the most since October of 1996 in Gainesville against the Florida Gators. Let's start, though, on the defensive side for LSU. because I imagine that's what Coach Ed Orgeron is going to address quite a bit here in the press conference coming up.
Well, I thought the front seven, by and large, played pretty well. I thought especially Ali Gay had a monster of a football game. I believe 9 hurries was the number that I saw, and he was disruptive all afternoon, and 9 yards rushing, but they didn't exactly run the football too much. But I thought the defensive line, the linebackers, all things considered, I thought played well. The secondary, uncharacteristically, got beat. There were missed assignments back there. There were blown coverages. And in this scheme, Bo Pelini's scheme, where LSU's going to be aggressive and they're going to play a lot of bump and run and challenge you, Mississippi State's receivers owned them throughout the day. And I know LSU was without Derek Stingley, and they were playing a lot of young players, but they also played players that had been in the system. And so it was a disappointing afternoon for the secondary, to say the least. And I'm sure we'll hear a little bit about that from Ed Orgeron, and what are some of the corrections that Corey Raymond is going to have to get into the technique. It starts with technique, Chris. Just looking at what little film I did, it starts with technique. But the Tigers, after 31 days of practice out there, I expected the secondary, the skilled people, the 7-on-7 that you were able to run, not the tackling, the 7-on-7, the covering. I thought they play at a higher level.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of tight bump and run coverage, not a lot to help on the backside of that, and you're kind of on an island, and a small margin for error. And as it turned out, Mississippi State's receivers made the most of that all afternoon long. Coach O said it to you after the game, said it to the media after the game. Our guys just didn't keep up with them. That's plain and simple.
And look, when they ran, I don't have the total count of number of offensive plays that they ran. Well, it had to be around 80. Run a ton of plays like that. They threw the ball for 60 times. We know that because of Costello's numbers. You're not the one thing about it, especially younger guys. There's not a practice in which you're going to play man-to-man. You're going to cover 60 times in the same afternoon. You've got to be disciplined. And one of the things that jumped out at me, for instance, is eye discipline. And when you're playing man-to-man, Chris, you've got to lock on your man. You can't peek. And there are a couple times, at least 2 touchdowns I can remember, in which defensive back was peeking at the quarterback. That's a sin in man-to-man coverage, and those are the things they got to get cleaned up.
You mentioned Ali Gay again. Had 3 pass deflections at the line, 1 tackle for a loss. Did have 2 sacks on the day. Jabril Cox at linebacker got the Tigers on the board. Kind of covered that underneath across the middle, was able to jump the receiver, jump the route, and go in for the pick 6. First time since 2018 for the Tigers with one of those against Miami. Damone Clark led the way, had 11 tackles for you. So, again, your point to the front 7, there's some good things to build on there. And hopefully personnel coming back on the back end, and plenty of work I'm sure they're going to get this week. Hope to see some improvement in that secondary moving forward. Let's move to the offense quickly. And, again, I mentioned 425 yards total offense. Miles Brennan, 27 of 46, did throw for over 340 yards in the game. Offensive line issues because, as I said, 7 sacks given up. And there were a lot of times, based on what they were trying to do in the pocket just wasn't there. And if it was, sometimes a little too long, and the pocket went away.
Too many pressures, hurries, sacks out of just 4- and 5-man rush, in which you number-wise, you're fine, and you should be able to handle it. Look, this passing game, we expected the passing game to have some bumps in its first game out, and there was enough to go around. You mentioned the O-line. Obviously, Miles had some struggles and some balls he'd like to throw back. There were times that I think he flushed himself out of the pocket prematurely. And then the receivers, there were drops.
Yeah.
There were the attention to detail in some of the routes wasn't always there. So there was a lot to clean up in the passing game. As you said, the plus side, you did score 34 points and have 425 yards of total offense.
Terrace Marshall would lead the way, 8 catches, 122 yards, did have 2 scores, but also had some drops, very uncharacteristic for Terrace Marshall. A bright spot out of that receivers room, Jaray Jenkins. I thought, when his number was called and he was targeted, he did a great job, had 5 catches, 85 yards. Racey McMath, 3 catches on the day for 50 yards. Eric Gilbert showed flashes of what we can expect to see, 4 receptions, 37 yards, had that leaping grab for the score. And then, I wanted to talk about the running game real quick before we go to break. Curry, Davis Price, and Emery all combined for 80 yards net rushing 0 rushing scores on the day. Your thoughts on the rushing attack and that tandem running the football?
Well, I think the running game got going a little bit better in the second half, and it was clear to me that Miles Brennan was more comfortable in the play action role, especially pistol type of offense, in which the linebackers were held. And as a run, you've got to play run first a lot of times when you're having some success running the football. I think all of them did some nice things. I think I'd like to see a little bit more, and there's a little bit of surprise LSU didn't run the ball as effectively in the first half as they did in the second half.
All right, we got much more to get to, including setting our sights on the Vanderbilt Commodores. We mentioned a moment ago there were several questions for every team coming into 2020. Certainly can be said for Vandy. We got a little look at them this past Saturday night in College Station. We'll get a preview of the Commodores coming up, and then at the bottom of the hour, of course, we'll hand it off to head coach Ed Orgeron as he will address the media here on this Monday. It's the Coach O press conference presented by Planet Fitness right here on the LSU Sports Radio Network.
People's Health is your Medicare health team, and People's Health is proud to sponsor your LSU Tiger teams. People's Health knows that when it comes to health care, what works is teamwork. Every People's Health Plan member is backed by a Medicare health team of doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and other health professionals. Whatever your health goals, our team's goal is to help you enjoy the best health possible. So compare your Medicare coverage to a People's Health Medicare Advantage plan. Call for your free information kit. People's Health is the official health plan of LSU Athletics.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. But the only thing that hasn't changed? Us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Test your Tigers knowledge by saying LSU Trivia into your Contour voice remote to enhance your game day experience. Watch together, play together, win together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
Hey, Tiger fans, LSU wants to remind you to defend the spread by masking up. The best defense against the spread is in your face coverage. Remember to wear your mask in public. Here are some quick and easy steps to stay well. Always wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Avoid touching your face. Clean and disinfect objects or surfaces around you, and stay home if you are feeling sick. Thank you for doing your part. One team, one heartbeat. Go Tigers!
Whatever you bring more. Whatever you personally bring to the SEC table, bring more. Get up earlier, sing and yell and stomp louder. Enough never is. Not here. Between the magnolias and the azaleas, legends and lore regale us, downright implore us. Bring everything you got, and then bring more.
Continuing with the Coach O press conference, presented by Planet Fitness. Coming up, we'll hear direct from the coach. But once again, here are your hosts, Gordy and Chris.
Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll hand it off to head coach Ed Orgeron. Talk about last Saturday night's tough loss to Mississippi State to open the season, and what the Tigers are planning this week as they get set to travel to Music City to take on the Vanderbilt Commodores Saturday night at 6:30. Speaking of the Commodores, when you listen to Coach Mason talk, he always says we may not year in, year out, Gordy, have the most talented team in the SEC, but our goal is to make sure when you play us, it's been a fight and it's been physical. Last year, a little bit of an exception to that. But again, Coach Mason survives, comes back this year, and based on what we saw Saturday night in College Station against a well-hyped Texas A&M ball club and Kellen Mond, this was supposed to be his year, 17-12. And Vandy was pretty physical in that game, and offensively, they've decided to go with a true freshman quarterback, Ken Seals, just the third true freshman to start an SEC season opener since they reinstated freshman eligibility back in 1972. Had 150 yards passing, threw for a touchdown. Div had 2 interceptions. But gave his team a chance to win in a pretty tough place to play against, again, what we all thought was going to be the best Jimbo Fisher Texas A&M squad.
I'm with you. Texas A&M returned 18 of 22 starters from a year ago, and Kellen Mond, and this was supposed to be their year over in College Station. And I saw that 7-5 score early, Chris. I found myself to television to watch this football game. Ken Seals jumped out at you, a true freshman quarterback from Texas, played with tremendous poise in this football game. 20 of 29. Just 150 yards, 5 yards per pass, a lot of checkdowns, but high percentage stuff, which you'd expect out of a true freshman. They ran the ball for 105 yards against Texas A&M, and probably most importantly, they won the time of possession battle against Texas A&M, 34 minutes to 26, and so they kept them in the game. Look, Derek Mason has been known, like you talked about, his teams play hard, and defensively in his front seven, he's got a pretty good front seven up there. They were disruptive. They forced 3 fumbles against Texas A&M. And keep in mind, Vanderbilt's going to remember those kids that were there last year, that 4.5-hour marathon. Was a score like 63-38? It was over 100.
Yeah.
There's a lot of points that were scored, and obviously the tempers flared a little bit in that game. So where you thought this might be an easy spot for LSU, Vanderbilt, a lot better football team than most people, including me, projected them to be.
Yeah, you mentioned the turnovers by Texas A&M. It was key. Kellen Mond fumbled the ball 3 occasions. They lost 2 of those, but it was all due to pressure in the pocket and getting after Kellen Mond early and often in that game. Offensively, we mentioned Ken Seals, the freshman quarterback. His favorite target, Amir Abdur-Rahman, 5 catches, 72 yards, both of those a career high for that young man. When you look at 255 yards total offense for Vandy, that's not going to knock you out. But a little impressed that they held the Aggies to 372 total yards, 183 on the ground and 189 through the air.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously they dictated pace in this football game. I mean, this A&M offense returned a lot of playmakers. We talked about Mond. Isaiah Spiller came back at tailback. A lot of receivers that had a lot of significant playing time under Jimbo Fisher. Again, I jump back to that time of possession, Chris, that Vanderbilt held the football in College Station for 34 minutes, and that means they ran the football, play action pass, high percentage passes for the quarterback, kept them in the football game in a game that they were, I believe, a 30-some-odd point underdog on the road in College Station.
Again, going to go to Music City back-to-back years, play at Vanderbilt Stadium Saturday night. And I want to say kudos to those Tiger fans who were at Tiger Stadium on Saturday. It was a warm day. It wasn't a hot day, but it was humid. Temperatures in the mid-80s. Again, it's just a different atmosphere. You were on the sideline.
Right.
You were closer than we were in the booth. What did it feel like down there on the field? Because this Saturday, there's going to be nobody there.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. There was enough noise. There was enough buzz in that stadium, especially when LSU drew tied in the tied the football game in the fourth quarter. Between the sound system and the fans, it was enough to make somewhat of a home difference. It certainly wasn't Tiger Stadium at its best.
All right, coming up, we're going to hand it off to head coach Ed Orgeron, who is getting seated as we speak, and we'll start the virtual press conference for this Monday. Gordy, we'll see you again in Music City on Friday. We'll get ready for the game on Saturday night.
We'll be ready.
All right, let's wait. Still trying to get the microphone ready. I believe Coach is ready. Let's now head to head coach Ed Orgeron.
Okay, we'll get started with an opening statement from Coach O. Once you have a question, just put it in the chat like normal, and I will unmute your line. Coach O, whenever you're ready.
All right, guys, tell the truth Monday. We spent all day yesterday analyzing the film. The truth is we got to coach better. Got to start with me. Got to prepare our team better. Got to coach our coaches better. We got to execute better. We got to make better in-game adjustments during the game, during halftime. We could have had a better plan on both sides of the football first game. One of the things that we're going to do today is we're going to talk about stance, alignment, assignment. Get back to fundamentals, get back to playing the LSU standard of performance, which was not there Saturday night. And I'll take all the responsibility, but we're going to get it fixed and get going. I believe in this coaching staff. I believe in this team. I know they're hurting today, but I know that we're going to come back and have a great practice. On defense, they had 383 yards after the catch. Obviously, that's tackling, that's assignments, too many guys running free. We got to work on our coverage. We had some mistakes in our coverage and leverage and technique and assignments. Some of the positives, we had 5 sacks. We caused 4 turnovers, and we scored on defense. That was very positive. I thought the pressure on the quarterback was there at times. It could get better. On offense, we got to protect the quarterback better. We gave up 7 sacks. Some of that was scheme. Some of that was technique. And we got to protect the quarterback better, and then we got to make better decisions in the pocket. We had some guys open. We didn't hit them. We could have slid up in the pocket and made decisions. I think that's going to come with more experience and with miles. We got to eliminate the drops. We had too many drops, especially at the beginning of the game. We had some critical drops that hurt our drives. And we got to run the ball better. On special teams, I thought we played very well on special teams. 49.5 yards per punt, 5 inside the 20, 2 for 2 in field goals, 7 kicks to all touchbacks. I'm looking forward to today. I'm looking forward to seeing the team. I'm looking forward to coaches identifying the things that we can do better, coming up with solutions, and have a great day of practice. On the Vanderbilt, Derek Mason has done an outstanding job. He's an outstanding coach. I have a lot of respect for him. He's an outstanding defensive coach at Stanford. I know Derek very well. Kenichi Udezi's on that staff. They have his defensive line playing very well, and I thought they played pretty darn good against their defense played pretty good against Texas A&M. We +2 in the turnover ratio. They +1. They have what we call a pro spread on offense, 4 returning starters. They only had 12 points against A&M. Ken Seals is their quarterback. Amir Abdul-Raham is a long and rangy receiver, pretty good athlete. On defense, I think is what their strong point is right now. They have an excellent defensive line in Dale. Dale's one of the top players that we've seen. He had 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, quarterback hurry against Texas A&M, and Andre Mintz, defensive end. I think their defensive line is very good at Vanderbilt. But, this is going to be about us. This is about this week, about us getting back on the winning track, about playing LSU standard performance. Any questions?
Hey, Ed, good afternoon. Can you give us an update on Derek Stingley, Glenn Logan, and to whatever degree you can, what happened with Derek on Friday?
Yeah, Derek I think Derek's going to be back. I talked to Jack. We're waiting for all the medical exams to clear, but I expect him back as early as maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. Glenn Logan will not be available for this week, and he will be available for Missouri.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. Jacques from Channel 9. Taking a look at the running back rotation, how do you think that worked out? And is it, I know you want to work all 3 guys in, but is it kind of a debate to get a guy warm and get him going?
Yeah, that's what we want to do. Obviously, Chris is our lead back right now, in our opinion, but Tyron and John, I thought John did some good stuff on short yardage. I mean, you would think that Chris and Tyron would be there in short yardage, but Kevin played him in short yardage. He had some good runs. So I'm pleased with our backs. I think we need to run the football more, get them more carries, and get them more touches out the backfield. They didn't catch the ball enough out the backfield.
You mentioned about on Saturday that maybe you guys would need to play more zone. I know you said Derek Stingley may be back here. I mean, after watching the tape, what prevented some of those in-game adjustments there, and do you expect any changes against Vanderbilt there?
Yeah, all those are Bo's decisions. We talked about it, and they were hitting us on some pick routes, some over routes. Some of it was scheme. Some of it, there's some kind of adjustments that we can do. Not necessarily play zone, but you can do some adjustments in man, passing guys off, not passing guys off. We may do that, we may do that, may not do that. It all depends. Having Derek not there really hurt us, obviously, but I'm glad that he's healthy. His safety is of foremost importance to us, so I'm glad that he's healthy and he's okay. Number one, Jay Ward was out for practice 2 weeks. We didn't even know he could play. He played a lot of snaps. I thought he did a fairly good job, but obviously was a little rusty there. So I think there's some combination of things. We were short on corners. Not having Derek hurt us. We had a game plan that we were going to play man and man him up, and we thought we could man up with the receivers. we should have made a couple of more adjustments during the game.
Hey, Ed, listen, I was in for the advocate. You were talking a little bit about the pass rush. Ali Gay seemed to step in well in that regard. Did y'all you liked his range, but did you anticipate that kind of performance from him in his first SEC game?
We have seen it in practice, and Ali came and just started making improvement every day. And I remember during the COVID, he didn't go home at all. He stayed here and learned and studied and worked out on his own. And we just saw in camp, he just kept on coming and coming and coming. And I didn't know he was going to have that type of game. I thought he had an excellent game. He beat that tackle pretty good. He had a lot of pressures, some batted balls. He's tall. He played the run very well. I think he's going to have an excellent year for us.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned on Saturday how, after the game, the next couple of days are going to be pretty important for you guys in terms of leadership and trying to move on to the next game. I'm wondering if you can kind of take us inside those meetings yesterday and today and just kind of how the team is responding after, your first loss really in 2 years.
Yeah. First of all, stick together, don't panic, and believe in each other. That's number one. That comes from me. And we're not going to change anything drastic, but you know what? We got to tighten up on some stuff. We got to play with more energy. We got to play with more desire. We got to make plays. We got to coach better. All those things that slip up on you when you're winning. Hey, the championship's over, and and this is a new season, a new team. We knew that, but now definitely we know that. Hopefully, our guys can start from day one today. Focus at one game at a time at Vanderbilt. Here's my job: to get this team as well as we possibly can, and to play at the LSU standard performance. And obviously Saturday night was a big disappointment to me and everybody else, and I understand that.
Yeah, to kind of bounce off that, it's your first post-game week with Bo Pelini, I guess. What has he been like these past 48 hours and with that coaching staff?
Been fantastic. He was the first guy to come see me in my dressing room. First guy. I said, Coach, I should have done a better job. And he was hurting just like everybody else. And we went over the film, and he saw the things that he did well, saw the things that we must and will improve. He's been fantastic today. He's eager. He's an outstanding coach. He's hurt just like everybody else.
Coach, the offense, of course, it found the rhythm in the second half, but Terrace Marshall seemed like he picked up the pace that he was from last season. Is there, you think, an ongoing connection him and Brennan will be able to maintain this season?
Yeah, I hope so, man. I like the long ball. I thought Brennan threw the long ball very well. Now, he missed a couple down the pipe there, but I thought he threw the long ball very well. That catch that Terrace made was outstanding. The skinny post was really good. One of Steve's strengths is taking shots. And one of Miles' strengths is his arm strength, throwing the football. But Terrence is an excellent receiver. Now, he dropped the ball or two. He made some mistakes. On a screen one time, he was supposed to block out. He had a mental error. So I know he knows that he can do better. But hopefully those guys can have a big-time connection throughout the year.
And Michael Calvin at WBRZ. I was looking at the depth chart, and in the secondary, it's mostly sophomores, or less.
Mm-hmm.
Is this maybe something that kind of, again, we have to get used to with the roster that this year's team has?
Yeah. You know what happens is our corners are 3 and out here. I mean, most of our guys go 3 and out. We have a lot of young guys. A lot of young guys play for the first time. And, there was a lot of one-on-one situations. You got to give credit. Mississippi State's receivers came to play. Their quarterback was on fire. Coach had a great scheme, put our guys in some difficult situations. And sometimes they did it, sometimes they didn't. And when they didn't, it was touchdown. One of the things that we got to get better is on third down. Third down and 20, they get a first down on us. So, we got to stop them. There are some third downs where they made some touchdowns on us. So those young guys, they're going to grow up. But that's who we have. We believe in those guys. Cordell Flott had an excellent camp. He did some good things in the game, did some things he got to improve on. I think you're going to see a better Jay Ward now that he's healthy and practicing.
Hey, Coach Joe Garland, Gillen, Fox State, New Orleans. I gather you don't have to do much motivating to the kids this week. It seems like everybody is now doubting them, talking about last year as a 1 year kind of flash in the pan. What do you say to the kids when they come into practice today, because everybody now, is saying LSU is going to be down this year. Their defense is not up to par
Yeah.
now. What is that going to be like for you?
Block out the noise. My Twitter machine's off. I hate to say it, Garner. I don't get Fox 8 in Baton Rouge. I ain't watching you no more. Hey, I just got to focus in on the task at hand. Look, the game's over. The season last year is over. Whether they say 1 year wonder, whatever, that don't bother me. I don't care. This is about our football team. And you know what? It's kind of good to batten down the hatches a little bit, tighten it down, turn the Twitter machine off, and really focus in on beating Vanderbilt. And that's all we can do right now, and that's going to be the focus of our football team. The one thing I want our team to understand, now I told them in the locker room, when you win, I give you the credit. When we don't win, I take it. But it's my job to fix it. And I guarantee you this week, we're going to start fixing it.
Yeah, this is Adam Sparks of the Tennessean in Nashville. Coach, fans are not permitted to attend Vanderbilt home games this year because of COVID, only team in the conference. Have you mentioned that to your team, that this stadium is going to be completely empty, and do you have any concerns that'll take away the edge of the game?
No, obviously, Adam, I love to have fans in there. I love to have Tiger Stadium full. I think it'll be a big-time advantage for us. I want to praise the fans that were there. They got loud at the end, and I could hear them. I'm sure that the Vanderbilt fans are disappointed that they can't go. But you know what? It's what we got to deal in. I haven't talked to it's what we got to deal with. I have not talked to the team yet, even about last week's game. But during the week, I will talk to them about there will be no fans there. But we got to create our own energy. Mississippi State created their energy. We got to create our own energy.
Ed, after the game, Miles said that they were dropping back and taking away his quick throws and taking away his lanes. And as part of that, too, on the handoffs, he never kept. Do you think what can you do to adjust there to make that work better?
Yeah, first of all, I think, Miles is exactly right. They were dropping in the short windows. They figured that we were going to throw the ball short, easy throws. To be able to get him comfortable. So I thought they had a really good scheme on defense. Now, we got to make better adjustments. I mean, we got to spread them out, make better adjustments, especially when we look over. We stop at the line of scrimmage, and we look over, and we know the defense is in. We got to make better adjustments right there. Number one, I think that he needs to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker, a little bit hesitant in the pocket, stay in the pocket a little bit more, have better pocket presence, and make better decisions. I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, Ed, some of your new guys, how do you think they played? I mean, Eric Gilbert and Jabril Cox.
Yeah, I thought they played great. Eric made some mistakes. He dropped the first one. I talked to him yesterday. He was nervous, but that play he made in the end zone was phenomenal, and we got to target him more. I thought Jabril Cox, for the most part, had a very productive game. Getting that interception for the touchdown, running around, making plays, very active. But again, assignment-wise, gap responsibility-wise, there's some things you can get better at. I thought both of those guys played pretty good. I thought Elias Ricks did some good things, getting the pick. He played some good things, but there's some things that he got to get better at. Typical first game.
Ed, you talked about wanting the running backs to touch the ball more. Are you pleased, though, overall with the kind of rotation you went with? Is there anyone who maybe, from what you go back to look at the film, kind of shined a little more to make you say he needs to get the more carries than some of the other guys?
Yeah, not yet. Chris had a good game. John had a good game. Tyron's a really good back. There are some things that all three of them do. We feel that I just think we need to get the running game going more. I like to run more first down. Let's get some positive yards. Let's get in the 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3, where it can make some good decisions. But, they'll run stunning, and they'll run in bear, and they were blitzing that guy through. We got to get a better plan, and we got to pick these guys up. There was too much penetration.
Hey, Coach. Mike Scarborough, Tiger Bait. If we could have heard you and Coach Pelini are both similar, your fiery nature. If we could have been a fly on the wall listening to him in the last few days, in team meetings and coaches meetings, What's he been like compared to you? I'm sure y'all are similar.
Oh.
And Alec Gay, his ceiling, performed very well on Saturday. A lot of people thought he was raw when you signed him, but he looked outstanding on Saturday.
Yeah. Bo gave great speeches on Friday night. He handles the defense. He's very emotional. He's been a head coach. He knows how to talk to the football team. He had the guys motivated. He's been very, I want to say, not apologetic, not humble, but just, hey, you know what? Hey, I could have done better, Coach. Very loyal. Hurt that he didn't do better. Hurt that the defense didn't do better, just like we all are. But, I told him, hey, put it on me. We're going to get it fixed. Now, Ali Gay, like I said, Ali was wrong when he came here. I got to give Bill Bush credit. He recruited him just like he recruited Joe Burrow, and he believed that he could play. Bill Johnson went and watched him, and I think it was one of Bill's first days. It might have been like 20 degrees up there or 10 degrees. It was cold as heck, but Bill came back and said, Ali runs well, let's take him. And Ali just came and worked hard. I think he is going to be a high pick, first, second, third round pick. He's going to play in the NFL. He's got the size. Hopefully he stays for 2 years. Don't get too good.
Hey, Coach, Bree Andrews from LSU Tiger TV. So you said that, y'all have to create your own energy, especially with the loss of fans at the Vanderbilt game this week. Do you think this loss, having it be such a, hurts his team, such a letdown after the great season we had last year, do you think this will kind of put a fire under this team to create their own energy to kind of build them up for this game coming up this weekend?
Hey, can I get you to talk to my team today? I love it. Nice job. It should. It puts a fire in me, I guarantee you that. And we're going to have a fire. And this is a big game for us. And we're going to take it one at a time. And we're going to play with some fire. We're going to play with some energy. And that energy was not there for some reason. For some reason or another, it wasn't there. And that's up to me to get that done. I'm going to have to take my mask off a little bit more to scream. I felt like I was a little muzzled in my mask there.
Hey, Coach. This is Shea Dixon with 24/7. What's Miles' mental makeup been just the past couple of days after he watched the film and had time to digest it?
Going to get better. See where he made his mistakes. That's Miles. Miles is humble. You know what? He made some good throws, though. But he was inconsistent. And obviously we got to protect him. When Miles feels a little pressure, he wants to scramble outside. He's got to sit in there. But, sometimes he can't. I mean, he's trying to avoid. So I think it all comes to the protection first. Easy throws where he can make decisions, put our playmakers in space, let them make plays, throw them the ball, and take shots. And once we get in that rhythm, we're going to be fine.
Coach, if Derek comes back today or tomorrow or Wednesday, you think you'll be able to play him, or does his illness make you, more cautious than their injury or something?
I'm hoping he can play, Glenn. It obviously makes a difference on our team. We need that. It's a position of need. We're very short there, but we're always going to put his health first. I'm going to listen to the doctors. I'm going to talk to his mom and daddy. If the doctors say he can play, and Derek says he can play, and his mom and daddy says it's okay, he's going